Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Full of Ourselves podcast. And today, Anna and I are going to be talking about probably the most serious topic that we have come up with yet. And that is all about dressing or not dressing to mean business. This is going to be a conversation. I'm very excited about this one. I don't know what will come out. We've got our some ideas and some points, but we wanted to talk about the power of, I suppose, what it means to be focused on or give attention to what we're wearing, and particularly when you're an entrepreneur or you're a solopreneur, there is a difference between going into an office and then you've got all your your fellow workers, and you've got that environment, and there might be a particular uniform. We'll touch upon that a bit more in this topic, but actually for most of us that are entrepreneurs, that's not the case. Our office might literally be our kitchen table, or we might go to a co-working space or our favorite cafe, or kind of mix it all up. So, where does dressing or what we're wearing come into it? Why is that, or could that be important? Is it something that you give attention to, or are you just showing up in your, slippers with the holes in and your tracky bottoms day after day? And I certainly think, since the pandemic, especially when a lot more of us got online, there has been more of that tendency to go, oh, I don't have to fucking bother, even getting dressed until later in the day. I know I got into that for quite a while, actually. But does that have an impact on us? And what does that mean when we're saying, actually, I've got a very serious business that has particular value, it has a particular sense of visibility. So, does what we wear matter when it comes to our business? This is our topic for today. What do you think, Hannah? Does it matter? Does it matter what we're wearing? Do you think it matters?
Oh, just go
Oh,
straight in there.
yeah.
Um, I think it does make a difference to how we feel ourselves and how, for me, I'll say, instead of talking about everyone, I'll talk about myself. I know it makes a difference for how I'm feeling,
Mm,
and how I'm communicating and all of that. Because part of dressing in a certain way is almost part of that ritual of getting ready, isn't it? And I think
mm.
there have been times where I've plonked myself down and put Zoom on and gone on, and it's been fine, and I'm just wearing whatever I'm wearing. Or you just change your top and it's like business on the top, relaxed and comfy on the bottom.
I thought you could go pleasure on the
Uh,
bottom then, but no.
well, relaxed and just whatever on the bottom. And
Yeah.
also, I noticed for me, Zoom particularly, we don't get away with it on Riverside actually, which is what we're using to record this on. Zoom has got this whole touch up my face thing, and you can have it
Oh,
do
yeah.
filters for you and stuff like that. So it was even easier. You just
Yeah.
plunk yourself down and you're like, oh, okay, I don't like, just put just kind of put the slider up to do more of that.
Make me 20 years
And
younger.
you and you don't have to worry about it. But I think that's fine, if it's a really just casual meeting or something that you're doing, I don't think there's a problem with that. And I don't think there's a problem with that generally. I just think for me, what I've found is when do feel good in what I'm wearing,
Mm,
when I do take time to choose what I'm wearing rather than just feel slobbing about or things like that, it makes a difference. And I think as well, I have my desk, I'm in my living room right now. I have my desk in my living room. So it's also a part of having that I'm going to work
yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
and there's a separation between that and me relaxing later. Does that make sense to you as well?
Yeah, when you say it like that, it does. It doesn't mean I actually do this whatsoever. I think I like the idea of, Like when I come to my desk, and whether it's for a meeting or not, I mean, yeah, for a meeting, obviously, I'll take a bit more time to notice my appearance and show up appropriately. But for a lot of time when we're getting on, or I'm getting on with just, the background work or the stuff that people don't know is part of being an entrepreneur, which probably takes up about like pretty much 90% of the time from what people see, getting, the work done, the stuff, the substance, the marketing, all of this kind of things. I feel like I intend to a lot more than I do go, okay, I'm actually going to get dressed up to sit at my desk. And actually, I'm just thinking about something now, and it's something, I suppose, in the way that I play with desire and pleasure in our creative work. And that can be whether it's coming to write your book or whether it's coming to be the leader of your business and you're about to, create some extraordinary offering, is this sense of we're in a relationship with our business. And I think when we're a solopreneur as well, there is a very intimate relationship, and it can be fun to play with this sense of my business or my craft is my lover. If I'm in this kind of relationship, how do I want to show up to my lover today? What is that saying as to the value of this, of how I respect this relationship? If I'm showing up in that skanky, stinky jumper that I've worn like, 14 days on the run, that's got a big stain on the front of it, simply because it's easy to put that on. There's something a little bit about, saying about the ritual of how we prepare ourselves for entering into any space. Um, and I like what you said about the defining the fact of, especially if you were, I'm also in my living room right now, that we're showing up for work. And then when we're stepped away from that and we're, with our partner or family or just hanging out or, whatever we're doing, because there's that kind of trope, isn't there, of, you come home from the office and immediately take your bra off, this kind of sense, isn't it? Of go, oh, okay, I can relax now. And like, how do we make those kind of distinctions? Um, and I do think it obviously impacts psychologically, I think as well, of if I'm putting out, and I'm playing with this a bit more, just very recently, if I'm putting out a luxury brand, let's say, or luxury business, then how I'm showing up to that just in behind the scenes day is a part of that. I'm getting into the
Yeah.
energy of that. I'm putting on like a costume because at the end of the day, uniforms are costumes, aren't they? People walking around with their suits, from wherever you buy your Marks and Spencer suits or whatever. And it's a costume to go to work in. You can see stuff in places and know that's something, maybe a pencil skirt and a particular kind of jacket or shirt. They're probably not the things you wear for fun. And I apologize for anybody
Yes.
here that's like, I wear that for fun. I love it. Like, actually, most of the time, that's, it's a kind of, I'm going to be a professional at work outfit, you know. So
Mm.
what is your
Have
own
you
costume?
mm. I was just gonna ask you, have you ever had a job where you had to have to wear a uniform or had a dress code? Can you think we've
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I'm probably talking like because I've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years now, but back in the day, I'll be thinking like pretty much my 20s, really. Two jobs that come to mind. One is I worked as a waitress at Pizza Express. So we had an outfit there that you had to work with a little, logo thing on, and you had to wear black pants or skirts or whatever. And then also, I used to be one of those promotional ladies at like Boots and places. Would you like to try so and so perfume? Which was very interesting considering bit of a rebel when it comes to things like perfumes and all this kind of like stuff. But anyway, yeah, I did that in my early 20s, and you had to wear smart, like I was just saying before, particular kind of suit thing. But I tell you something though, but then since then, no. But then I remember years ago I was playing with, so how long ago is this? I want to say about a decade ago, when maybe I was starting to take my business a lot more seriously than I ever did before. Like when I was first starting to really get into the business of the stuff that I'm doing now. And I thought, I want to play with this character thing. And I actually went to this charity shop down the road, and I found, and it was like literally a fiver, I think, £5. for this red. It was gorgeous, like you would like it, a bold red suit. It was from Next. It's woolen and a really nice, like, smart jacket, which I've still got the jacket, and a really kind of funky, yeah, pencil skirt, but it was a bit asymmetrical and had a little bit of a kind of scrunch kind of thing to it. And I was playing with dressing up actually like that for a bit, putting that on to go and sit at my own desk. Um, a bit of a kind of end point to this story. I forgot about that, and then not that long ago found it. And I was like, "Ooh," put the jacket on. Oh yeah, okay, nice. Could not even get the skirt over my thighs. I know. I was like, off to the charity shop again you go. Just a bit of an aside there, but I do. It was a funny thing to remember, and I was so like, "Oh, this is so exciting! I'm going to take this home and dress up as a serious businesswoman and play in that." Because at the end of the day, it's that thing, isn't it? Everybody's winging it, and people that you see all dressed up like that, they're winging it as well, and just but wearing the outfit gives you that little bit more of a boost in confidence, possibly. Yeah. What
Yeah,
about
I
you?
I
Yeah.
think it can do. Certainly, I'm trying to think. I mean, the first kind of shop, not the yeah, actually, the first couple of shop jobs I never worked in a restaurant or anything like that, but it was shops for me. And I was in a department store, but it was very much in the "Are you being served?" times. So there was the navy little skirt and the
Oh, yeah,
white
yeah,
blouse, and
yeah.
it was that style of thing that you had to wear. And then when I was the teacher, I'm sure there must have been a dress code. I can't really remember the specifics of it, but I had a quite specific, like, skirt and top,
Yeah,
like, wardrobe for that.
yeah,
Um, and so it is quite interesting. I think what's quite nice about, I'm not saying you have to have a uniform, but I think what's quite nice about having uniform is that there's that separation a little bit from,
yeah,
like you said, the taking the bra off, that from being at work and being doing something else. And I think that's what we've lost a little bit of from working from home. And so wearing something and having your own work uniform, as it were, I'm not saying I have one, but I get what you're saying, gives you another separation, because I think sometimes that work life
yeah,
balance, that's not a balance. It's a
yeah. And it and
um, it can help with that, I think.
and it doesn't have to be big as well. We were both agreeing on this. We both have thought of this, I don't know, when we were thinking of ideas for what we would wanna speak about. It could be a piece of jewelry, like I've got, this piece of jewelry on here, which is a, old print set, R for Revolution for my new business. I got that, got a hole drilled in it, necklace on it. Bingo, there you go. And for me, I will wear this now when I am, well, certainly when I'm running kind of writing workshops and things, but when I remember to as well, when I'm actually creating stuff for the Writing the Revolution, I will put this on. And that for me is my getting dressed up for work. It has that kind of token energy that's informing that. And then often I'll just take it off again after I've done that. And that's it. I can be in my other outfit. So piece of jewelry, which, yeah, okay, I like to make things. I often do that as a representation for stuff that I'm playing with, whether it's YouTube videos, whatever. But even like buying a nice piece of jewelry, like a nice ring or a bracelet or something that for you represents your business, um, I think can be a really powerful thing to do. Or how about, I mean, I'm curious to know if you have anything around jewelry that represents, because obviously you're a jeweler as well. So, I mean, I'm talking to like, um, to the pro here. But it was just making me think also of shoulder pads. Like back in the 80s, the bigger power bitch you were, the bigger your shoulder pads were, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So jewelry for me, I have this ring. Maybe what we'll do is maybe we'll share some pictures of what we're talking about,
Mm,
for this. But I have this ring which you will probably not be able to see. Those of you who are
fascinating.
watching on YouTube, you get the advantage of seeing what we're both wearing today and things. But I have, so you're right. For those people who don't know, because I'm one of these, I'm a Manny Gen, I'm a manifesting generator. I do lots and lots of different things. And
She
so
really
I've
does.
had a career working, I don't really do, really random stuff sometimes, but I've had a career working with jewellery and jewellers. I have my own jewellery school. I teach jewellery making, and I love people when people come and make things that have meaning. So they stamp
Yeah.
initials on and things like that, which is really lovely. But this ring that I have right here was made by my lovely Jess Croft from Homebed Jewellery, and she has this. She does personalised jewellery, and she had this amazing mantra collection that I adored. And so I said, "Could you make me the Good Girl Rebellion
Love it.
ring?" And she's like, "Yes, of course I can." So I've been wearing this every day. And for a while, I don't do this so much anymore, to be honest, but I was doing it as part of my meditation in the morning. I put it on as a part of that kind of ritual
Oh,
idea of
wow.
like, these are the people that I'm working for.
Oh, I
This
love
this is
that.
the cause that I'm working for, and it was all kind of part of it. Now I just don't even take it off.
I
And
love
now I
that.
have my own Good Girl Rebellion range of jewelry, so you can all kind of, I'll put the link to that in the show notes,
Yeah.
of mantra words, and and the Good Girl Rebellion, if it resonates with you. But I love that idea of wearing something. You can even wear something that has things stamped on the inside.
Mm.
If you've got a message that you want, but it's for you. It's an interesting idea. It's something that is for you, not
Do you know,
necessarily for everyone
you're
else.
making me think actually around, I mean, there probably is this stuff out there from what you're just saying. I love that idea of things on the inside that you don't necessarily want to show the world, but it's close to your skin. Even things like keep believing or you're doing amazing, or, I'm sure there
Yeah,
probably is this stuff, isn't it, around your business that just to have that is good. You've reminded me as
yeah,
well, I've got my
absolutely.
so this ring is, it's kind of an infinity, but it's also represents eight. So actually I bought not this one. It was actually a smaller version of this. Just before I went to Asia last year, just before I launched the 8% Club, my membership. I got it from Accessorize. I really like their stuff and I wore it the whole time. And that felt very purposely. I got it for that. And then, note to self, don't wear it all the time, including in the sea and out again and, it all tarnished. So when I got back, I was like, I'm going to buy a new one, and I went to Accessorize and they didn't have my size. They had a smaller one, which I could have squished in and put on a different finger. I was like, oh, okay. And then weirdly enough, the same day, I was with a friend of mine and we're walking through. I don't know why we're not sponsored by yet Marks and Spencers. If you're listening, anyone from Marks and Spencers, we're happy to be sponsored by you, representing women in business and business outfits. There you go. Maybe we need a sponsored, place like that. But I was with a friend and she wanted to look at something in Marks and Spencers. Those of you that are not in the UK, Marks and Spencers is like one of those stores that's so British and yeah, everyone knows it, clothing and underwear and food, the best foods actually. And so I was walking through, looked at the jewelry and they had the same ring, this one, but it was bigger and chunkier. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's why I couldn't get my size in the smaller one. I had to upgrade this now." And I wear this pretty much
Love
every
it.
day and I love it. So it reminds me of the 8% as well as I just really like it. So it's interesting, isn't it? I think for women as well, there's something about, well, not for all of us, obviously, but I love jewelry. I love this thing of putting nice things on. It makes me feel like a woman, I suppose, and we are all about women in business and you don't have to have yourself adorned. We both love our lipsticks.
Yeah, let's talk lipsticks.
Let's do a lipstick, babe.
It's actually often at the beginning of a podcast, we're chatting away and we're like, what should we talk about? How should we talk about this? And then we're both like, ooh, just putting our lipstick on before we press record. That's like the
Yeah.
last thing that we do.
Yeah.
Um, I I was never actually a lipstick person, to be honest.
You surprised me.
Weirdly, I know, I know. It's my whole identity, and it's not quite. But I went and found one. I was like, right, and I wanted to go bold. I was like, right, I want a red, and we try. And she got a couple of them out, and she tried this one on. Then I'm again, YouTubers, you're with us. You can see this, and the first one she tried on, I'm like, that's it. And she's like, shall I
Oh,
try on
wow.
another one? I'm like, no, no. But what's really interesting is I was trying to get some more of it, and it looked like they'd stopped doing it, and I
Mm.
panicked, and went and bought six from
No
different
way.
places. I've got so many, and I know you're. I think there are the things that say that it runs out and you're not meant to keep it. I have it. I'm keeping it, and this is. I'm sure I could probably find by the time those have run out, I will be over the fact that this has gone out of stock, or they'll bring it back. So whatever.
I love it. It's always isn't that the way? I find that happens so often, particularly with lipsticks, actually, is that I find one, I love it. I love how it goes, like all this kind of stuff. And then next thing I know, they've discontinued it. I'm like, but why? And that happens to me a lot. I don't know. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
I
nothing
think they want you
personal.
to. Think they're trying to get you to just browse around and start looking at more things, you know. I kind of get it. It's a bit like when they move things around in the supermarket and you're like, why can't I find it? It's
It
like
was a
trying to
thing,
get you
wasn't
to
there?
find
They
new
used to
things.
say like makeup was a bit like putting on your war paint. Do you remember that? I don't think many people say that anymore. But there is something about, I know, like we both have that in exactly what Anna just said before we start recording. We'll be like, 5 minutes, and off we go, and we're both returning. We've got, oh, I haven't got my red on today. I've got a new colour I'm trying out here. Um, but there's something about when I put lipstick on it, it makes me feel like a boss bitch, like it makes me feel like a badass. It makes me feel like, oh yeah, like connecting into that kind of power place actually. There's something just like immediate in that. It's very interesting kind of what that happens. And we just want to say here at this point that you're listening to this and going, I do not relate whatsoever. I'm not interested in trinkets and jewelry. I don't wear makeup. Absolutely fine. But actually it'd be really interesting to know, is there something, do you put on that special pair of knickers? I've got a Wonder Woman knickers that if I have like a big meeting, or something that I really want, I will wear my Wonder Woman knickers that no one knows about. They're a bit faded now. They were from Topshop a long time ago. But it's like putting your your big girl pants on kind of thing and going out into the world. That's my thing. So if you have something like that, let us know. Or if you do as well, going, oh my God, I've got a favorite shade of lipstick and I've bought loads like Anna has as well, or, the kind of jewelry aspect, let us know. We'd love to know. Like, do you have something that you put on intentionally to get you into this kind of more like business mindset? And does it work? What do you think? Or is this a load of nonsense that we're talking
Hmm.
about today?
I love that. And I suppose another thing that people might use if they're not really makeup people or if it's not about clothing is scent. Is there a
Oh, yeah.
perfume that you like to wear? I don't know if you're a scent person or not a scent person. So
What's your scent of choice then? If you're saying that, I'm
my
guessing that's important to
yeah.
you.
Well, no, my favorite perfume is it's a very citrusy one. It's a verbena from L'Occitane. So it's a
Oh,
very
nice.
citrusy smell. I've actually had never really found like one of the traditional perfumes, that people often talk about. I never really found one that I was like, oh yes, that's what I want to make my whole personality. But citrus smells for me, I love. So, but some people do though. Some people are like, oh my goodness, they go in a cloud of. I can't even
Yeah.
think. I'm not a perfume person, so I can't even think of a name of one.
No.
I don't know. A cloud of
I've only got
perfume.
like a Chanel. Let's go with like Chanel or something. Again,
Chanel,
we're
yeah.
not yet sponsored by Chanel, but Chanel, it makes sense. We
Do
will
you
wear
know
your
what though?
scent.
I'm thinking about all of these things, and everyone you've mentioned so far I would never be sponsored by. So okay.
Oh, controversial. Okay, Chanel? No, can't twist your arm. Okay, we'll have
No.
discussions about this after the show, maybe. And I'm not perfume person. I like though I have to say Penhaglion, is that how you say it? They have the most beautiful, oh my God, occasionally I'll go into the store and they have really nice rose. I like kind of those like rose, but I'm more oils. I like a dab of oil,
Oh.
essential oils. Not hippy dippy, but like rose or mainly that basically. I just find is
Mm.
really beautiful. But no, the kind of I find it a bit poisonous to be perfectly honest. Um, with that. But another thing as well, I love the scent thing because again, that's just another way, isn't it? Of just, okay, I'll just put a scent on and then I'm at my desk or I'm in a meeting. Um, I mean, I touched upon this as in, the Wonder Woman underwear, but lingerie. There's something, isn't there? Doesn't all women, I'm going to speak for all women here, I'm aware of that, feel something when we've got amazing lingerie on that only we know about? That could even be, gasp, matching bra and knickers, How often does that happen? Or some really nice stockings or something.
I think that's so true, and I think that's another thing of like of things being hidden and being worn for yourself. It's part of that feeling confident, and that's something maybe that you've invested in, because like nice jewelry or nice lingerie might be something that costs a little bit more than what you normally would spend.
Yeah.
And so I think it's about that part of it as well. It's about that valuing it and going, this day or this thing that I'm about to do has value, and so therefore I'm going to put my armor on, as it were. Not that you would have armor, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
that
yeah.
feeling of that. I think there's an interesting thing I saw about tattoos, in that there are different types of tattoos. There are some that are about, and it's about the placement of them. So, like if you have them
Mm.
on your arm here, on your shoulder, on your back, or somewhere, it's about other people seeing them. So it's about saying something about yourself to others. But if you
Oh,
have it on your wrist or something like that, then it's a tattoo for yourself.
I love
It's
that.
like a reminder. I know someone who's got like a date on their wrist, and it's that way up, so it's not gonna make sense to anyone else. It's for
Mm.
themselves. And I think it's the same, it can be the same for clothing and for jewelry and things like that. Are you wearing something like your big shoulder pads to say, "Look, here I am," or are you wearing something that is about you and about how you feel about yourself, and it's
Yeah,
nothing to do with somebody else?
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, I love that. It's also making me think about, yeah, okay, touched upon the shoulder pads thing. And but we don't have to go back that far, and it's still going on now anyway. This idea of what a businesswoman looks like. The kind of there's a severity, and that goes along with how you are as a businesswoman, which for so long was about being, there's a bit more maybe aggressive or a bit more, like a man in that way and not emotional. That doesn't come into making decisions and so on. Obviously, that's kind of changing and changing. Um, so actually dressing more maybe feminine, let's go with that, feminine, maybe softer, like we're saying that, maybe beautiful lingerie that people won't see, having your hair or your makeup, wearing certain things. That's not that traditional classical style. There's almost a sense, I think, I mean, it is different now, absolutely. But there can still be this sense of, am I taken seriously if I'm looking like this? And we were having a conversation, weren't we, about because it made me think of that amazing film. Some of you might never have heard of this if you're, of a younger generation than us, but real pivotal and quite, really extraordinary film, but very of its time. I think it was the late 80s. I want to say like 87 or 88, called Working Girl. And it had a fantastic cast, and it had Sigourney Weaver, who was this, very, very kind of man like boss woman of her kind of empire, very much so. She was very kind of rigid and the hardness to her and quite scary actually. And then you had Melanie Griffith. I have to talk like this, Melanie Griffith. This character. They all had the most fantastically big hair. This is I remember about that. Such bad 80s hair. But she came along and she had a oh my god, there's that quote, isn't it? That she says to Harrison Ford, I've got a head for business and a bod for pleasure. I remember that quote when she's talking to him. But she's like really great business. She comes up with this stuff. There's a whole thing. Her ideas stolen by Sigourney Weaver's character, and she's like, these are mine. And there's a scene that I remember when she's going to meet somebody who's very. It might have been the Harrison Ford, but it's part of her going. This is my idea. I'm putting this forward as a proposal. What do you think? And her friend's helping her, and she's got on the most extraordinary underwear. And I thought that was a really powerful shot in that they're showing this woman who's very much about her sensuality in lots of ways. She owns that. And yet she is this extraordinary businesswoman who's not afraid to go into a boardroom with all these men of 70 years old, white men, kind of like, and go, this is actually the idea, this is the future. You need to invest in me.
Yeah, definitely. And if we think about it, going back, we've talked a little bit about this on a previous episodes around how, it was, I think, 1975 when women could get a credit card and without a
Mm.
man signature, they could get a mortgage without a man, they could get a loan. But that in the UK, that is, I think it's 1974 in the US. But basically, that didn't mean that it was happening. Like, just because they
Mm.
could doesn't mean that it
Okay,
was
sure.
allowed. And it was certainly not in the same way as it is now. And so when women were much more being taken seriously in the workplace, and still, this is a work in progress. I don't know how we can still be saying that now, but
Mm.
anyway, it was that feeling of like to be taken seriously. I need to dress in those power suits. There was that kind of very much that,
Yeah.
like you said, the big hair, the 80s, the shoulder pads, the all of that.
Power
Um,
suits. Yeah.
the power suits, it was all part of it. And I hope that there's a step back from that. And you may still want to wear your power suit. I would really want a pink suit actually. I need
I
to
want a
find a pink
power
suit.
suit.
I don't wanna call it a power suit, but I want a pink one.
Of course you do,
Like this pink,
obviously.
this
Of course
this
you
very
do.
bright pink that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
Um, just put that out there into the universe, pink suit come my way. Um, but I think this is something interesting about how things have kind of progressed and changed, and coming back into this idea of a lot of people, especially solopreneurs, working from home, where maybe we feel so glad we don't have to constrict ourselves into that uniform that we used to have to wear, and maybe we're happy to 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 wear our work tracksuit or whatever it might be. Maybe there's something
Yeah.
around that too, of having that. I'm particularly forever known for wearing slippers. And even when I was filming, so I was filming a course with a professional film crew before. I was filming a jewelry making course, and there's a reel of me, like, because I've got my slippers on underneath the desk. Yeah,
I
I've got my
love
slippers on now. I'm
it.
full on. I'm like, we're like,
I
I'm
don't
going to
believe
dress up
you.
for this. Do I have to put them? They're not that
No,
nice. I can't.
I've got bare feet actually
Oh, I
today. I
can't have
like
bare
that.
feet. I get too cold. I can't. I
I'm
can't. I can't wear.
There's something, isn't there, around all of this, around about especially there is a safety in a uniform and there's oh fucking hell.
Anonymity.
Anonymity,
Yeah, got
thank
it.
you, in
Got
a
it.
uniform. And it's
Yeah.
a very interesting paradoxical thing of just because you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you're like this extroverted, outgoing, comfortable in the spotlight on you whatsoever. I'm pretty, it might not seem like it. I'm pretty shy really. And visibility is such a big thing for any of us as entrepreneurs. It's an ongoing thing to work with, and how much can we do we expose ourselves? Because ultimately, we then become the brand, isn't it? It's like this whole thing of like, what is your brand and how we present ourselves, especially on like social media and what we're wearing and looking and all the things that we're talking about now becomes how people see us as a particular brand.
Yeah.
Um, and that is an interesting thing, isn't it? Like it might be you're going, well, actually, no, I'm not really visible and I don't tend to have pictures of me on stuff. Or it might be, and then we're both, I think you're probably more than me, Anna, in your stuff, which I love watching your things. You're more there as a visible, literally the kind of face of your brand. So there is an awareness then of, okay, what I look like, what I come across is giving information about the kind of person that I am, that you as a client or your audience is either going to resonate with and go, oh yeah, they're like me, or go, oh my God, I love what she's saying, but look at her cardigan. That's super cool. There's these things, isn't it, that draws us in. And conversely, it could go the other way as well. Someone in something, maybe even if they're saying really interesting stuff, I think we judge. I know I judge, like we judge straight away. We all do this. And that could put us off somebody and someone's amazing work because of how we're presenting. It's quite complex, don't you think in that way?
Think it is. I think there's a kind of that this identification of like, oh yes, they're like me, or there's that side of like, oh, I admire that person. I would like to be like that person. I think there's a
Oh
different.
yeah.
It depends on what your business is, I think, as to where you want to be and position yourself, but what you wear and how you come across, all of that is going to be really important when you are putting yourself out on socials, or even just the way you speak on emails and things like that, which is not so much as part of what we're talking about today, but I think it's all part and parcel of
Yeah.
it. And I wanted to just ask you a little bit, because you recently had a really exciting photo shoot for
Yeah.
your brand. And I think what was interesting about that was how it very much how important that was. I think
Mm,
having some really lovely photos, but
mm,
also how you thought about what you would wear, and the props you would have, and all
mm.
of that. So just talk about a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I'll provide a picture, one of the pictures from this as well. We've got a few things that we're going to put as a little photo montage, I think, to accompany um, this this episode. So it's a very interesting thing because I was doing a bit of journaling. This was in January, and I was about to, I knew I was going to launch this Writing the Revolution, the latest thing, which is, as it says. I mean, and we've done a, you might have heard it already, or it might be to come. We haven't decided the order of these yet as we're filming it, about the rebellion and the revolution. So you'll have heard a bit more about where that's come from. So for me, there is this sense of and the work that I do is very much about the kind of eroticism and creativity and how they empower each other and this impact throughout all of our life. So I was thinking, okay, I'd love some new photos done because I've had a few done before with different people, but I want them to kind of embody that. And also the fact this is called writing and, offering writing workshops and mentoring and so on, bring both in. So literally, I'd finished writing this in my journal, thinking, who shall I ask? I'm on this particular group on WhatsApp, a collective group thing about kind of conscious sexuality in the north of England, or Manchester, actually much more local. Lo and behold, I open that up, and there's this wonderful guy, Curtis Rignall, his name is. I absolutely recommend him. He was a photographer, and he'd literally just posted, I've got cancellation this Friday, looking for do this. Exactly what I said, erotica of people that really embodied and I was just like, oh my God, that's the fastest I've manifested. So, and I arrived with loads of things, loads of props. I knew I was going to take my typewriter. I had like pens and papers. And it was the funniest thing because I put on just last minute these like red, you'll see it in the photo, really nice kind of pattern tight things, just as a last minute thing. I had a red bra just to go underneath. I had no intention that I was just going to be in my underwear. And then when we started, and it was really lovely soul, really relaxed and comfortable, felt very safe there. When we started and I was getting changed, put something on from all the outfits I brought, he just went, don't suppose you want to just take some photos as you are? That's great what you've got on. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I think actually some of the best shots were from this. And my favorite one is this one of, you'll see probably the one I'm sharing kind of on the floor, my back, knees up. I've got a computer, typewriter on my knees, and it's saucy, but it's not in that kind of like, oh, kind of way. It's just as embodied. I'm owning my body and playing with the kind of writer type. Um, and I love it. And I've said to him, I want to do more stuff with him, other ideas. And two things with this. One is the response back from being visible in that kind of imagery or branding aesthetic from either amazing, like love this and really spot on to, oh, what are you doing in your underwear? Oh, yeah, that's right, sex sells, nah, which is a whole other, we could do a whole topic on
We may
the
well do.
sacredness of, selling. Um, but the other side of it, and this is a point we touched upon earlier as well, was it didn't occur to me, and someone might have pointed this out from the images I showed them, I think they said to me, none of these look like they're from the male gaze. And you know what? This was a man, yeah, we're taking the photos. And not in one moment did I have a feel like that. I think because the way that his process was be there, what you're feeling, I'm feeling shy, okay, follow shyness for a bit, like really embodied process. There was no sense of that, which is quite extraordinary. I think that's why the photos have worked out. Because we were talking about this, isn't it? Of like caring for your, I want you to say a bit more about that, but is it caring for this image and making ourselves look a certain way? Who are we doing it for? Is it just reinforcing or emphasizing the sense of male gaze? So I know for me, from my experience, that wasn't about that. And I didn't have that experience. I didn't go into it for that. But I'm curious what your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting one, and I see it a lot around people. I think we're both Gen X, and I see it a lot, kind of like this idea of, we're aging gracefully, disgracefully, whatever we want to age, and we're owning that, and we don't need to hide who we are. We don't, there were so many messages, and I think this is such a true thing that I saw someone else talking about, of like, she was saying in the 80s and 90s, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, she said, I couldn't remember ever hearing anything positive about how a woman looked. It was
Mm,
always, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this, you're too, there was always a judgment around it, and there was always, you're not enough of this and you're too much of that. And so I think there's, with being brought up in that way, it's been really interesting to then think about, like, well, what if I'm wearing something that I love, who is that for?
mm,
If I want to look my best,
mm,
I think we can do that for ourselves, and it's not about dressing for whoever we're attracted to and we want to attract back. Not always. Sometimes it is because that's what we want
mm.
to do. But I think there's quite a movement around not wearing any makeup and
Well,
not
yeah,
accentuating what you Pamela
Pamela
Anderson,
Anderson's on that at
and
the moment, isn't it? Which is it's extraordinary, and she does
it
look
is.
beautiful, and it's so unusual, isn't it? There is this thing of like, oh my God, a woman without makeup in the public eye.
And also somebody who was so much around how she looked, the
Yeah,
Baywatch era and all of
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
It's quite a thing. It's quite a big deal. But it can then be, it's almost, again, it's like that either or. Either you're going all in and you're really trying to
Mm,
dress up and you're doing the whole thing, or you're not doing anything and it's part of that. And I think
yeah,
the middle ground needs to be there too, of around, this makes me feel comfortable, this makes me feel confident, this makes, and this is about me, it's not about somebody else.
yeah. Do you know what I was thinking? Before when you were saying about like what you really want to wear. Do you know what? Ideally, this is what I would really like. I would love to be. I do love the whole like Patti Smith. It is quite, I suppose, kind of tailored. We're talking about the suits. That's right. When you said about power suits, I was thinking, what would mine be? I do like her. I like the idea of a fluorescent pink. But actually, I really like, and I've had this for a while, properly tailored. I'm thinking French. Yeah. Tailored, beautiful shirt, and then gorgeous high waisted, beautiful pants, maybe woolen pants or something. Gorgeous, like cummerbund, very fitted, and then they flare, but really beautifully made. I would like to wear French tailored, beautiful made clothing.
I
So
love
again,
that.
just saying, if anyone out there is a Parisian tailor and wants to sponsor us,
Yeah.
that one you'll go
It,
for,
it-
I think.
it's interesting because I came on a few weeks ago. I was wearing this brand new denim dress that I think I've worn it on one of the previous episodes we've
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah, yeah, I love that.
And I was, and it was so funny because I tried it on in the shop, and I was like, I've never tried on a denim dress before. I was like, no, 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 no. And I tried it on. I was like, oh my god, this makes me look amazing.
Yeah,
Like, it just had the right shape for me, the right, it just looked right for me. And I was just like, right, I don't care how much this is, I've got to buy it.
yeah.
And I'm now in that era of, actually, I want. I want to start buying things that make me look amazing, that I feel really amazing in, that make me feel really confident,
Absolutely.
and not any throwaway stuff and all of that kind of stuff. I want things that make me feel that. And maybe those things might be a bit more expensive, because they are well made and they're well tailored and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. And that's fine. Right now I'm wearing this neon, I'm going to stand up for those
Yeah.
again YouTubers,
I
neon
love
pink
that
cardigan
cardigan.
and
Yeah,
branded
Good Girl
t-shirt.
Rebellion.
Good Girl Rebellion t-shirt. But this pink cardigan my mum knitted for me. I love that. But I chose the color. I was like, yes. And my dad was quite sad when it left the house. She's like, I've really enjoyed looking at that color.
Wow, maybe he needs
He was
one
like,
as well. Maybe
maybe
he
he
needs a
needs one as
Christmas
well.
jumper in that colour.
Maybe, maybe. But it's just this color makes me just feel good. And in
Yeah.
fact, another thing that I did was I was having a few years ago, this is now, but I was also having a photo shoot for my new website, and I went onto the photographer's website, and she had a stylist that she recommended, and I thought, oh yeah, that would be brilliant,
Mm.
just to work with somebody, because a lot of times
Mm.
I'll go into a shop and I have absolutely zero idea. I get completely overwhelmed very quickly, and I walk out again of like, what should I try? What works for me? And so actually working with a stylist who explained which colours I look good in, like this one.
I can't believe that you didn't,
Um,
like, just have that anyway, it's so obvious. But yeah, 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 stylist is good.
no, I was definitely wearing lots of blacks and greys and definitely things that do not work for me. Navies maybe. And I now wear lots of bright colours, and I now know what suits me, like shapes of things. So I can quite quickly hone in on things in shops. And I now enjoy shopping a bit. I don't love it because I'm not a shopper, but a bit more. I enjoy it because I can go, oh, that's my colour. What would that look okay on me? And that kind of thing. So that was and I can now, when I see older pictures or older reels or things of me, I'm like,
Mm.
gosh, I can really tell a difference in terms of what
Mm.
works really well for me. So permission to get a stylist, everyone, if you need one.
Well, this is it, and I
Please do.
think, I think well, over to you really, listeners, like, we'd love to know, like, your particular items or what your ideal kind of work kind of aesthetic would look like, your brand. And as Anna was just saying, so if you've got no idea, then what a great curious thing to play with. You've never even thought about it, but you're thinking, oh, okay, because essentially, as always that we say here, we want to enjoy what we're doing. We want to enjoy running our business. And part of dressing up for me is the enjoyment of. Absolutely, it feels playful, and that will have an impact on how I feel about going into work. Whether it's drafting a boring email or doing a spreadsheet or something or other, it all actually makes a difference. So, yeah, hiring a stylist or maybe going out even with a good friend that's got a great eye and going, I want some outfits to go with this is my kind of brand. Can we do a kind of shopping thing together or doing it a couple of you? It could be a really fun experience and just trying things. I think improvising, you might find like a whole new kind of character of yourself that you can embody as the leader of your business. Because remember, these are characters, these are identities. Like we said right at the beginning, at the end of the work, I know we say day with quotation marks, those of you that can't see, because as a freelancer, we're not quite doing the 9 to 5, but we want to be able to put that identity down and go, okay, now I am just me, or I'm the friend, or I'm the mother, or the lover, or the parent, or the just me, basically. Um, so I think a lot of this is about playing with the identity of who are we as the leader of our business and what
Mm.
does that look like? And if we think maybe we've outgrown this or not given it much thought, or yeah, I want to play with this, then this episode has been your permission slip to do exactly that. And we would love, love, love to know. You could even send us photos, find us on IG, send us photos of your outfit or your lippy or whatever. We would love, love, love to see that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Well, thank you so much for joining us on Full of Ourselves podcast, series three. I can't believe we're up series three. If you've missed any of the series one and two, go back. There's lots of juicy conversations to listen to. And we will see you again for a new episode very shortly. Bye.
Bye.